In today's class, we'll try to understand about what? Introduction to Power Automate. Now, before going to start discussing about Power Automate, so from last 3 days, we are discussing about the business application process. I want to go and implement the business application process. So in this business application process, already we done with how many steps? 2 steps. One is front-end application creating the app, and also we done with what? Data sources. In this 4-step business application process, till now we done with step 1 and step 2. Now in the step 1, to create the apps, we use it with software, Power Apps. We are using the Power App software to create the apps. And next one is data sources. Next one is what? Data sources. Now, what is the data source we are taking in our classes? SharePoint, correct? We are taking one of the data source as what? SharePoint. So still now we done with these 2 points. And now in today's class, we'll go and understand the third step is what? Automation. How to go and perform the automations. We'll try to understand now in today's class. Now in order to go and perform the automations, we'll go and use with software now. We'll go and use the Power Automate software. So in today's class, how to perform the automations using Power Automate, we'll try to understand. So now, what points we'll try to understand now in today's class is, so first point we'll try to understand what is Power Automate. The second point we'll try to understand what is automation. Second point we'll try to understand what is meant by automation. Along with this, we'll understand 2 more points, that is who will use the Power Automate software. Who will use what? Power Automate software. Also we'll try to understand what? How to perform the automations. How to perform the automations using Power Automate software. How to perform the automations using Power Automate software. So these are the points we'll try to understand now in today's class. So among all this, first let me go and discuss about who will use the Power Automate software, guys. So now try to understand who will use the Power Automate software means, as we know that if there is any company, what the companies will do? The companies will do some business. We know that if there is any company, the companies will do some business. Let's take Amazon company, well-known companies for us. Amazon. Amazon is one company. They are doing what business? E-commerce. Let's take ICICI. ICICI is one company. They are doing some banking business. And let's take Swiggy. Swiggy is some other company. They are doing some food business. Like this, if there is any company, what the companies will do means they'll do some business. Now, if the company is doing some business, then the companies will have some repeated. The companies will have what? Repeated work process. If there is any company, if the company is doing some business, then the companies will have what? Repeated work process will be there. Let's take Amazon company here. Now Amazon company will have some repeated work process. Now what is the repeated work process for the Swiggy company will have? Let's say, as we know that we are taking the Swiggy company as an example. Let's take in the Swiggy app, 10,000 customers are placing the orders for one day. How many customers will place the orders means, let's take there are 10,000 customers are placing the orders. Whenever the customer places an order, they need to send one email to that customer regarding what? Your order is placed successfully. Thanks for placing the order. And in the body of that email, you can see the what is the order you placed, what's the price, what's the discount, and some details. You can see the address details and invoice you can see there. So now, whenever the customer places an order, I want Swiggy company need to send one email to that customer. Now, how many? Let's take 10,000 customers are placing the orders. Now, for all the 10,000 customers, I need to send an email. So when I want to send the email means, once the customer places an order, within the fraction of seconds, without any delay, within the fraction of seconds, I want to send an email. So if you want to send an email to the customer within the fraction of seconds, once the customer places an order, with the help of humans means, no. We are not able to send the email to the customers within the fraction of seconds once he is placing an order with the help of humans means, We are not able to do this work with the help of humans. Sending the email to the customers within the fraction of seconds once he places an order, it is not an easy task. So it will take some time for us to do that work manually. So this is the first point we need to understand. And the second point, how many mails I want to send for one day? 10,000 mails per one day. So it is possible to send the 10,000 mails manually with the help of humans for one day means? Again, it is not possible. So by keeping in mind these 2 points, any company, they'll have what here now? Repeated work. Swiggy company, what work will they will have? Once the customer places an order, send an email to that customer that the order is placed successfully. Once the order is delivered, again they will send another email. Your order is delivered successfully. Enjoy the food item, whatever you place. Some mail they will send. So where the process will start? This is the work process. Where the work process will start means work process will start once the order is placed. Once the order is placed, first they need to send an email to that customer. First they need to send an email to whom? Customer. And also Swiggy company need to send one email to the whom? Restaurant also. So which restaurant you are selecting to cook that food? So Swiggy company need to give some information to the restaurant also. So here also they need to send some email to that restaurant. So they need to go and give some notifications there. So you need to prepare so and so food. So they need to give the another one more email, send an email to whom? Restaurant. And also once the restaurant is accepting that order, then the Swiggy company need to go and assign that order to any one of the delivery person. They need to go and assign that order to any one of the delivery person. Once the order is assigned to the delivery person, next the delivery person will pick that order, and then he is going to deliver that order to the customer finally at the end. So this is the work process, guys. For the Swiggy company, this is what the work process. So like this, every company, if you take, the company will have some repeated work process. Whenever where the work process will start, customer placing an order. Who will involve here? Restaurant will involve, delivery agents will involve here. So here the order, here the work process will start, here the work process will end. So this complete will call it as one work process. Here I want to go and automate this work process. So I'm taking here sending an email to the customer. It is one of the repeated work process for the I'm a Swiggy company. If you want to do this work with the help of humans means no, it is not possible. So instead of going and doing that work with the help of humans, so we'll go and do that work automatically. So we will go and perform some automations. So if you want to go and perform the automations, that means if you want to send the emails to the customers automatically, then we need to go and use one software, one automation software to perform the automations. So what's that automation software you are using to perform the automations is Power Automate. So what is the use of this Power Automate software now? It is used to perform what? Automations. So what type of work it will automate? Repeated work process. So now we understand who will use the Power Automate software, guys. Now who will use it? Any company. If they are doing some business, the companies will have what? Repeated work process. To do that repeated work process with the help of humans, it is not possible. So they will go and perform some automations. If you want to do that work automatically, then we need to have an automation software, that is what? Power Automate. So we understand who will use the Power Automate software, and also we understand what we can do with the help of Power Automate software. Power Automate software is used to perform what? Automations. Fine. And now the next point, we need to understand how to perform the automations using Power Automate software. Now before going to understand how to perform the automations with the help of Power Automate software, we need to understand one point here. What is the definition of Power Automate and what is meant by automation? So let me discuss these 2 points now, and then we'll discuss how to perform the automations. Now first let me discuss about what is Power Automate, guys. What is the definition of Power Automate? As we discussed just now, Power Automate is an automation software which is used to automate the repeated work process. Let me keep that point here. Now as we know that what is Power Automate means? Power Automate is an automation software which is used to automate the repeated work process within the organizations. Organizations means companies. So what is meant by Power Automate is? Power Automate is an automation software. Let me keep here within the Power Platform within the Power Platform, which is used to automate the repeated work process within the organizations. This is what the definition of Power Automate. Already we know, as we know that Power Automate is one of the software within the Power Platform, which is used to automate what? Repeated work process. And next point we need to understand what's meant by automation now. The next point we need to understand what's meant by automation. As we know that already we understand about what's meant by automation. Automation is nothing but what? Doing correct. So already when I'm discussing about the 4-step business application process in the class 1, there I discussed about what's meant by automation. I said that automation is nothing but what? Doing certain repeated work automatically without any human interactions. We'll call it as automation. Let me keep the same point here now. So already we know that what is meant by automation is nothing but automation is nothing but doing certain repeated work, automatically without any human interactions. If you are doing some work without any human interactions, then that means you are performing their what? Automation. So this is what the definition of automation. And we understand what's the definition of Power Automate. Now, once of this understanding about what is Power Automate and what's meant by automation, now we need to go and understand how to perform the automations using what? Power Automate software. Now, how to perform the automations using Power Automate software, guys? Let me go and keep here. So in Power Automate, there are different ways to perform the automations. In Power Automate, there are different ways where you can perform the automations. Let me keep here types of automations. Types of automations in Power Automate. So there are 3 types of automations we are able to perform in Power Automate. What are those 3 types of automations is? The first one is automated cloud flows. The first one is what? Automated cloud flows. Second one is instant cloud flows. Sorry, let me keep here the scheduled, the second one. Scheduled cloud flows. And the third one is instant cloud flows. So these are the 3 different types of automations you are able to perform. There are 3 ways you can perform the automations. One is using automated cloud flow. Second is scheduled cloud flow. Third one is instant cloud flow. Now, what is meant by automated cloud flows? What is meant by scheduled? And what's meant by instant? When to go and use what? What's the functionality of each? Let me discuss now. So first, let me go and discuss about automated cloud flows, guys. Now try to understand what is the use of this automated cloud flows means. These flows are used to automate the repeated workflows. We'll call it as work process or we'll call it as workflows. Anyone is fine. So these flows are used to automate the workflows when an event is happened in the data sources. When an event is happened in the data sources. So what is the use of this automated cloud flows is? These are used to automate what? Repeated workflows. When it is used to automate the repeated workflows, when an event is happened in the data sources. That means when something is happened in your data source, then if you want to perform some sort of automations, then go and use what type of flow? Automated cloud flow. Now let me give an example for automated cloud flow, guys. So first of all, what's meant by an event? What's meant by an event? Correct. Event is nothing but creating a record. Let's say event is nothing but uh, let's take inserting the data into the SharePoint list is an event. If you update the data in the SharePoint list, it is another event. Or if you delete the data in the SharePoint list is another event. So event is nothing but what? Inserting the data, update is one event, delete is one event. So all these are called as event. Now here our scenario is what? Whenever the new student details is inserted, whenever the new student details is inserted into the SharePoint list, then immediately by taking that student email ID as a reference, I want to send what? An email to that student. So when I want to send an email to the student, whenever the record is created, where the record is created? In the SharePoint. SharePoint is what? It is a data source. SharePoint is what? It is a data source. So when something is happened in the data source, if you want to do some sort of automations, then go and use what type of flow? Automated cloud flow. Simple. When to go and use the automated cloud flows means whenever if you want to automate the workflows, when something is happened in your data sources, then go and use the automated cloud flow. Our example here, it will match as the same. When I want to send an email, whenever the record is created, once the record is created, then only go and send an email. Inserting the record is an event, guys. Inserting the record is one event. So once the record is inserted, take that email ID, send an email to that student. So if you want to send an email whenever the record is created in the SharePoint list, you need to go and set what type of flow? Automated cloud flow. Fine. We understand when to go and use the automated cloud flows. Next, my requirement. What's meant by scheduled flows? Scheduled cloud flows now. These flows are used to automate the repeated workflows based on the scheduled date and time. When to go and use the scheduled cloud flows? These flows are also used for what? Automate the repeated work process. But when it will automate, when you want to perform the automations now, based on the scheduled date and time. Whenever if you want to go and perform some automations based on the date and time, then go and use what type of flow? Scheduled cloud flow. Let me give an example here, guys. When to go and use the scheduled cloud flow. Let's say there is one company, any company if you take, let's take Infosys company is there. In the Infosys, there are thousands of employees are working. Let's take there is one company, let's take Infosys, 1,000 employees are working there. Now for all the employees, they need to send them one simple example, guys. They need to send the birthday wishes for the employees on their date of birth. Which employee date of birth is matching with the today's date? For them, I want to send an email recording the birthday wishes. This is what my requirement. Now, I want to send the email. I want to send an email to the employees, those who are working in the company, recording the birthday wishes. Now, when I want to send an email means every day I want to send. At what time I want to send? Every day at morning 6 a.m. I want to send. Every day at morning. At what time I want to send? 6 a.m. So now try to understand. There are 1,000 employees is there in the company. Now for all the employees, every day morning at 6 a.m. I want to check which employee date of birth is matching with today's date. So how many employees date of birth is matching with today's date? For all those employees, I want to send the birthday wishes. At what time? At morning 6 a.m. Now, if you want to do this work with the help of humans, it is not possible. First of all, when I want to send an email, morning 6 a.m., who will come to the office to send the birthday wishes at morning 6 a.m.? No one will come to the office. So next problem we are facing here is how many employees is there in the company? I said that there are 1,000 employees is there. Now it is possible to go and check in the data source which employee is matching with today's date in those 1,000 employees. No, it is not easy task. There are 1,000 employees in that SharePoint list. Going to that list and checking which employee birthday is matching with today's date. It is not an easy task. So if you want to do this work with the help of humans, it is not possible. First thing, we are not able to check among those 1,000 employees which employee's date of birth is matching with today's date. And second problem is who will come to the office to send the emails at morning 6 a.m. No one will come to the office to send just a birthday wishes. So now what's my requirement? Every day at morning 6 a.m. go to the data source, check which employee date of birth is matching with today's date, which employee date of birth is matching with today's date, send the birthday wishes to those employees. Every day at morning 6 a.m., go to the databases. Check which employee date of birth is matching with today's date. Whoever the employee is matching, date of birth is matching, send the birthday wishes. So I want to do this work automatically with the help of systems. I'm not able to do this work with the help of systems. Sorry, with the help of humans. I want to do this work with the help of some systems or software. So if you want to go and do this type of work with the help of some systems, now what type of flow you need to go and create here? Scheduled flow. Why? Because I want to send the birthday wishes, but at what date every day? At what time? 6 a.m. So here I want to go and perform the automations based on the date and time intervals. Whenever if you want to perform the automations based on the date and time, go and use what type of flow? Scheduled flows. Fine. And next one is what? Instant cloud flows. Now, what is the use of this instant cloud flows means? Now try to understand. Now my requirement, I don't want to send an email when something is happened in the data sources. I don't want to perform the automations. Let's take automation. I don't want to perform the automations when something is happened in the data source. I don't want to perform the automations based on the date and time. Now, when I want to perform the automation is whenever it is required for me, I need to go and click on one button manually. I need to go and click on one button manually. Whenever I click on that button manually, then only it need to go and perform the automations. So whenever it is required for us, we need to do it manually. We need to automate it manually by clicking on one button. So whenever if you want to automate the work process by clicking on one button, whenever it is required for us, then go and select what type of flow? Instant. Instant means whenever it is required for us, instantly go and click on one button. That button automatically it will automate the complete process. So let me go and keep here. When to go and use this instant cloud flows is these flows are used to automate them repeated workflows manually by tapping a button. So when to go and use the instant cloud flows means these flows are also used to automate what? Repeated workflows. But when? Manually by tapping a button. Whenever it is required for us, you need to go and click on one button manually, then only it will automate the process. So these are the three different types of automations you can perform. Based on your requirement, you can go and select either automated cloud flow. If you want to perform the automations when something is happened in your data source, go and use the automated. If you want to perform the automations based on the scheduled date and time, go and use the scheduled flows. Or if you want to perform the automations manually by tapping a button, then go and click on what? Then go and use what? Instant cloud flows. So these are the three different types of flows we're able to create in the Power Automate. Now let me go and discuss how to go and create an automated cloud flow, how to go and create a scheduled flows, and how to go and work with the instant flows. Now in order to go and work with these different types of flows, first of all we need to go and open the share Power Automate case. Now how to open the Power Automate. Now in order to go and open the Power Automate software, there are two ways. One is you can go to the office.com. From the office.com you can open it. And second one is make.powerautomate.com. Directly if you want to open the Power Automate software, go and use the make.powerautomate.com. Let me show you both the ways. First let me go and show you with the help of office.com. Go to the office.com, go to the search bar and search here for what? Power Automate. When I search for Power Automate, you can see what? Power Automate application. Just go and select this. When I select this, it will open what? Power Automate software. Let it open. So it is opening what now? Power Automate software. This is the one way. From the office.com you can open it. Let me close this tab. If you want to open the Power Automate software directly, go to the new tab and go to the search bar. Use the URL make.powerautomate.com. When I go with this URL, directly it will go and open what? Power Automate software. Directly it is opening what now? Power Automate software. Once after log into the Power Automate software, make sure that credentials you are using it must and should be an organizational credentials. Now once after opening the Power Automate software, now I need to go and create these three different types of flows. So now if you want to create a flow, go to which tab? create tab. There is a tab called create. Go to the create tab. From here you can create the flows. So as I said that you can create what type of flow? Automated cloud flow, instant cloud flow, scheduled cloud flows. You can see for automated cloud flow, you can see something is happened in the data source. Then I want to go and perform some type of automations. It is depending on the data sources. Next one is you can see instant hand raise is there, button click. This is for instant. And scheduled means alarm icon. You can see the alarm icon here. Now these are the three different types of flows we are going to discuss now. And there are few more will be there. Describe it to design. It is using AI, using a Copilot. Copilot is an inbuilt AI software in the Microsoft. If you want to use the AI to create a flow, you can use it. Just to describe it here, you can keep some text, what flow you want to create. So you need to keep very careful with this. Once if you're giving some text, when I click on the enter button, automatically it will go and create a flow with us. So you don't want to create it. If you want to use the AI, you can use. So it is not recommended for now, ignore it. And there is something called process mining. This process mining is used to improve the performance of your flow. How to improve the performance of the flows we'll covering in the coming classes. And there is something called what? Desktop flows. This desktop flows comes under the RPA. RPA stands for robotic process automation. So it is the older version, guys. In the older days, to perform the automations, we'll use the RPA. We will perform the automations in the desktop. But nowadays, companies are moving their data from on-premises to cloud. Companies started moving their data from on-premises to cloud. So instead of going and learning the desktop flows, which is used to automate the work process in the on-premises, go and learn the cloud flows. Whatever the three flows we are discussing here, these are the cloud flows. You can see the name here, what? Cloud. So whatever the three flows we are going to discuss, these are the cloud flows. So better to go and learn the cloud flows instead of going with what? Desktop. Desktop is the older version. In the older days, we'll perform the automations in the desktops. But now in the cloud. So now, first, my requirement is what? I want to go and send an email to the students whenever the record is created. So now let me go and create what type of flow? Automated cloud flow. Now, before going to create the automated cloud flow, whatever the data is there in the SharePoint, let me remove this data, guys. I'll show you from the scratch how, whenever the record is inserted, how to send an email. Let me remove the data first, complete data from this table. Let me remove the data. And now there is no data in the SharePoint list. Now go and create a flow. Go to the Power Automate. Let me select what type of flow? Automated cloud flow. Let me select this. Now pass the flow name here. Let me pass the flow name as automated cloud flow batch 122. Let me keep the flow name like this. Whatever the name it is, you can keep your own names, guys. I'm keeping for better understanding purpose. I'm creating an automated cloud flow for this batch 122. Once after passing the flow name, next you need to select what? Trigger. Choose your flows trigger. Now what's meant by trigger is used to start the cloud flow. What is the use of this trigger means? Trigger is used to start the flow. That means when you want to start the flow now, whenever the record is created, then only I want to start the flow. So whenever if you want to start the cloud flows, we need to start with a trigger. Trigger means giving an alert, start. So when I want to start this flow now, whenever the item is created in the SharePoint. So now let me go and select the trigger as in the SharePoint when an item is created. So now select this when an item is created. This is the trigger. Now and then click on what? Create. For now, just try to understand trigger is used to start the flow. So anyway, in the coming classes, once if you start the Power Automate classes, I'll discuss about triggers for half an hour. So what's meant by trigger? When to use it? There are three types of triggers is there. What are the different types of triggers we'll have? We'll understand in detail about triggers in the coming classes. For now, keep in mind what's meant by trigger is used to start the cloud flow. Now let me choose the trigger as what? When an item is created. Now click on create. When I click on create, it will allow us to create a flow. Now you can see the flow name on the top, Automated Cloud Flow batch 112. Now this is the new designer, guys, new UI for Power Automate. This UI is in the preview feature still. There are some features where it doesn't work functionality properly. So once it is live, we'll discuss about the new design. Only design is different. properties, options, behavior, everything is same. So now I'll switch back to the old designer. There is an option here, turn off the new designer. By default, that new design is turned on. Let me turn off it. Let me switch back to the old designer. So why I'm switching back to the old design is because the new designer is still in the preview feature. Few functionalities are not working properly. So that's why we'll go with the old designer now. Now, what's the first step in the flow? When an item is created, this is a trigger. This is what? Trigger. Now, where the item is created, what is the site? Site name, batch 112. What's the list name? Students. So here you need to pass the site address and list name. Where the item is created, the site address is batch 122, 8 p.m. When I go and click on this drop down, you can see that site name here, guys. You can see the site name, batch 122, 8 p.m. This is the site I want to connect. Let me select the site. Once after selecting the site, let me pass here what? List name. Once after passing the site address, automatically it will show us the list here. What's the list? It is students. Select the list name as students. Now, whenever the item is created in the SharePoint list called students, what I want to do?
Sir, sorry.
I
Sir,
want to
sorry
take
to
that
interrupt.
email ID. Yes.
Sir, Abdul here. Sir, it was showing invalid parameter, right? What step you click to see this page? The one, just go back if you don't mind.
Mm.
Before this, there was invalid parameter, right? The interface UI when
That
an
is
item
what
is
in the new
created. What?
designer. That's what I'm telling. That is the
Yeah.
new designer. So I am turning off the new
Okay.
designer. I am going back to what? Old designer. So new designer will have some
Okay.
bugs. So it is not recommended to
Okay.
go with the new
Got it.
designer right now. So now,
Switch with outside.
whenever the whenever the item is created, where the item is created? In the students list. What I want to do now? Whenever the record is created, I want to take that student email ID. I want to send what? An email. So now whenever the record is created, now let me add a new step. So I want to perform some actions. Whenever the record is created, what action I want to take? Send an email. So go and search for send an email. Go and search for what? Send an email. So when I search for send an email, so there is an action called what? Send email. There is an action called what? Send email. Let me select this. Select it. When I select this, now it is asking us to pass what? To address, subject, and then body. Whatever the mail you will compose in the Gmail, same here also. So now first we need to pass the to address. Let's say if I enter my email ID, I'm entering the my email ID here. That means whenever the record is created, it will send an email to whom? To myself. I don't want to send an email to me. To whom I want to send the email? Which student detail you are entering? For that student, I want to send an email. So here, I don't want to hard code the email to address. Let me remove it. So uh, which student details you are entering? That student email ID I want to capture. To capture that student email ID, there is an option here called dynamic content. Add dynamic content. Go to the dynamic content. When I go to the dynamic content, here you are able to see the column name in the SharePoint. There is one column called what? Email column in the SharePoint. Whatever the column it is there in the SharePoint, that column name you are able to see here. Just select this column. When I select this column, now what it will happen now? Which student details you are entering, that student email ID it will take here. So I'm making the to address as dynamic. I don't want to hard code the value to address. Which student details you are entering, that student email ID I want to take it here. Next, subject. Let me keep the subject as thanks for inquiring AB trainings. Just I want to keep the subject as what? Thanks for inquiring AB trainings. Now next, body. What's the body of that email? Let me mention hi. If I enter my name here, let's take I'm entering some name. Now, whenever the record is created, it will send an email. In that mail, what is the name it will keep? That person's mail I want to keep. But what I am keeping here? Venki. That's my, I'm hard coding the name here. So I don't want to hard code it. If I hard code the name, every time it will keep the name as what? Venki itself. But I don't want to hard code the value. Just remove it. I want to make it as dynamic case. Which student details you are entering? that student name I want to take here. So again, go to the dynamic content. Go to what? Dynamic content. Under the dynamic content, you can see all the columns in the SharePoint list. Student name column, email column, mobile, course, education. These are the columns in the SharePoint list. From this, I want to take what? Student name. Yes, name. Let me select this. Automatically take the name here. Keep comma. And then let me select this one and keep it in the bold. There is an option called bold. Keep the student name in the bold. Fine. Now what it will do? Which student details you are entering, that the student name it will capture. Because I want to make the student names also dynamic. I don't want to hard code it. Next, I want to keep the text as what? Hi. Let's take the name is Sunil. Hi Sunil. Uh, we are from analytics benchmark. We are from analytics benchmark. Next, let me select the analytics benchmark. Keep it in the bold. And also let me add some coloring. Let me select the analytics. Keep it in the blue color. Let me select the benchmark. Keep it in the orange color. So we are from analytics benchmark. Thanks for inquiring. Thanks for inquiring. For which course the students inquired, that course name I want to mention. I don't want to keep the course as Power Apps. I don't want to hard code the course name. Why? Because if I hard code the value here, every time it will keep the course name as what? Power Apps itself. So I don't want to hard code the value. Let me remove it. What's my requirement? Which student details you are entering, that student course I want to take. So I want to make it as dynamic. I want to enter the course name dynamically. Now again, go to the dynamic content. Let me select what? Course value. This is the column which is there in the SharePoint. So what it will do? Automatically, which student details you are entering, that the student course it will take. Let me keep here. Let's take the course name is Power Apps. Thanks for inquiring. Power Apps course. Let me select the course. Keep it in the bold. Keep it in the bold. Thanks for inquiring Power Apps course. Just I'm keeping here. We will update. We will update you when the new batch will starts. We'll update you when the new batch will starts. Just I'm keeping some simple text case. Next, thanks. AB trainings. Thanks. AB trainings. Just I'm keeping some simple text. You can add the text here, whatever the text you want to keep. So thanks for inquiring Power Apps course. Course details. You can mention the course name, course duration, course fee, trainer name. So whatever the mails you received, I think whenever if you inquired, my team will share an email with you, right? Same mail you can compose here. How we will compose the mail, same you can do. So to compose the mail, as it will take some lot of time, I'm keeping some simple text here. So hi, student name. We are from analytics benchmark. Thanks for inquiring. Whatever the course, let's take Power Apps course. We'll update you when the new batch will start. This is the simple text I want to keep here. Fine. This is the mail I want to send. When I want to send this email, whenever the record is created. Now once after this, now go and save the flow. Now the flow is ready. Only 2 steps. When the record is created, this is the trigger. Once the trigger is activated, the flow need to run. In this flow, what action I will take? Sending an email is an action. So let me go and save the flow. When I click on save, it will check the flow is having any errors or not. Now it is telling that your flow is ready to go. We'll recommend to test it. We need to test the flow for the first time manually, guys. Now how to test the flow? There is an option here called what? Test. Let me click on test. So for the first time, you need to test it manually. Select the manually test a flow and then click on what? Test. Now it is telling us what? To see it is working. Now add a new list item in the SharePoint. Now let me go and enter some data into the SharePoint list. When this flow will run, whenever the record is created. Now go to the Power Apps. Let me enter my details itself, guys. I'll show you what the mail I'm receiving. I'm entering my details itself. So to show you what's the mail I am receiving, let me enter some mobile number, just some random number. Course I'm taking here is Power Apps, and then educational background is BTech. This is the course student details I'm entering. Once after entering the data, go and click on what? Submit. When I click on submit, this data will submit to what? Data source. Now click on submit. When I click on submit, the record is submitted. When I click on refresh, Yes, the record is submitted. Now, whenever the record is submitted, the flow need to run. So let me check. Now see, it is telling us what? Your flow run successfully. We'll get the green color tick mark here. Now what this flow is doing, whenever the record is created, once the record is created, it will take that student email ID and then it is sending one email. While sending the email, taking the student email in the to address, it is taking the student name and is going to take what? Course of the student. So now the flow is run successfully. Let me go and open my Gmail account. Let me open my Gmail account. Let me check I received an email or not. So this is my email ID. I'm entering the email ID Venki Challa 1995. If you go and check here, if you see the login credentials, Venki Challa 1995. I'm logging with this email. Now see, just now I received an email here. Just now, 8:50 p.m. Now when I go and click on it, so what's the subject? Thanks for inquiring AB trainings. Hi, what's the name I entered there? Venki. Student name is Venki. Hi Venki. We are from Analytics Benchmark. Thanks for inquiring. Which course I inquired? Power Apps. And then next it is sending the mail what? Thanks for inquiring Power Apps course. We'll update you when the new batch will start. So it is taking the email ID dynamically. It is taking the student name. It is taking the course also dynamic. And now is the mail I will receive whenever the record is created. Now online students. So to show you how it will work, people those who joined only through laptop, please enter your email in the chat box. I'll check. I'll send the mails to you so you can understand how you'll receive the mails. Again, I am telling, stressing the point, people those who joined only through laptop, because you need to share your screen. People those who joined through mobile phone, don't share your email IDs. So people those who joined through laptop, enter your emails in the chat box. I'll enter your details. Seetal, let me enter one of the student details. Seetal is the email ID. Let me enter the student name. Let me enter some random mobile number. Let me take the course as SQL Server. Let me keep the educational background as BTech. Click on what? Submit. When I click on submit, it will submit the data. Now see, the record is submitted. Whenever the record is submitted, who is the name? Seetal Krishna. This is the email ID. Course is what? SQL. Now Seetal, please check your email ID. Let me know whether you received the email or not. Please check the mails. Let me know whether you received the email or not. Suresh. Let me enter another one more. Suresh. So enough. 2 students are enough. Course as Power BI. BTech. Click on submit. So Suresh, please check your email ID. Let me know whether you received the mails or not. So for Suresh, the course is what? Power BI. For Seetal, the course is what? SQL. Yes. Let me know whether you received the mails or not. Seetal and Suresh. Please check your mails. Unmute from your side, both of you. Not yet. Suresh, you please check. There is another one more. Abdul is there. Let me enter Abdul. Let me take the course as Power BI. Click on submit. Abdul, please check your email ID also. So Abdul is also added. So please check
Sure.
mails. Yes, got the mail. Seetal. Seetal, I'll give the access to you to share the screen. So please share your screen. So Seetal received it. So for Seetal, before going to give the access for Seetal, if you see for Seetal, what is the course it is? SQL. Keep in mind the course. Now I'm going to give the access for Seetal. Seetal Krishna. Now you can share the screen. There is an option called share. You can just share your screen that many students can understand. Fine. Now you can see there. What is the name? Hi Setal Krishna. Thanks for inquiring. We are from Analytics Benchmark. Thanks for inquiring which course for SQL? SQL Server. And we'll update you when the new batch will start. So you can stop sharing, Setal. So like this, whenever the record is created, they'll get what? They'll receive one email. You can stop sharing. Let me share my screen. Okay, fine. So this is the student details Setal. SQL is the course. So it's the email ID. So whenever you enter the details, Suresh also they will receive it. Maybe it will take some time. Abdul also will receive it. So whenever if you enter student details, which student details you are entering, by taking that student email ID as a reference, it will go and send one automated email to the student. So whenever if you want to send an email to the student, when the record is created, so I'm going to create a flow. What type of flow it is? Automated cloud flow. So okay, fine. We understand how to go and create an automated cloud flow. Whenever the record is created, how to send an email. Next, let me go to the create tab. I need to go and create another type of flow. What? Scheduled flow. Now try to understand what's my requirement here is. Now I don't want to send the email to the students whenever the record is created. Let's say I want to send an email to the students at a time. So let's say I'm going to close the office by 9 o'clock every day at 9 p.m. So before going to close the office, every day at 9 p.m., whoever the students is there in the SharePoint list, for all the students, I want to send an email regarding the inquiry details. So when I want to send an email to the student every day at 9 p.m. So if you want to send an email to the students every day at 9 p.m., go and select what type of flow? Scheduled. Date is what? Every day. At what time? 9 p.m. Let me select the scheduled flow. Let me pass the name as scheduled cloud flows. Batch 122. Now, once after passing the flow name, here also you need to choose the trigger. Previously, what's the trigger? Something is happened in the data source after creating the record. But now what's my trigger? Date and time. When I want to run the flow now, based on the date and time. So what's my trigger now? Date and time. So now first you need to go and select here from which date you want to start the flow. Whether you want to start the flow from today, tomorrow, or day after, you can select the date from which date you want to start. I want to start the flow from today itself. Now, at what time you want to run the flow? 9 o'clock. You can select the time here. Go and select what? Time as 9 p.m. So from today itself, I want to start the flow at what time? 9 p.m. Now, how many times you want to run the flow per day? Only one time I want to run. One time you want to run. Either you want to run the flow monthly once, weekly once, daily once, hourly, minutely, or seconds. I want to run the flow daily once, guys, every day. If I select here day, now what it is telling here, this flow run when? Every day. But now here, Sunday is leave here now. Sunday I don't want to send the mails. Sunday is leave. I don't open the office. So I want to send the emails from Monday to Saturday. I don't want to send the emails on Sunday. So instead of selecting the frequency as a day, let me select what? Week. So in the week, now by default selecting all the weeks. Now I will go and uncheck what? Sunday. So now what it is telling, this flow will run when? On Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday in a week. So from Monday to Saturday in a week, every day the flow will start at what time? 9 o'clock. So you need to choose the trigger. Here I'm creating a scheduled flow. In the scheduled flows, what's the trigger means? Date and time. So here the date is what? Every day at Monday to Saturday. At what time? 9 o'clock. Now click on create. When I click on create, it will allow us to create a flow. Let me switch back to the old designer. Turn off the, let me switch back to the old designer. Turn off the new designer now. Now what's the first step in the cloud flow is? Recurrence. Recurrence means also a trigger here. In the cloud flow, we'll call it recurrence. That means it's a trigger. So you can see here when this flow will start. Runs on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. When I click on edit, you can see here weekly it will run. Weekly once. That is from Monday to Saturday. Now every day from Monday to Saturday at 9 p.m. what I want to do? I want to send an email. To whom I want to send an email? Whoever the students is there in the SharePoint. So if you want to send an email to the students, whoever there is in the SharePoint list, first of all, whatever the data is there in the SharePoint list, I want to bring this data into Power Automate. First, we need to bring that data into Power Automate. Why? Because I want to send an email. To send the emails, I need to take the email IDs. Where the email IDs will be there? In the SharePoint. So first, my requirement every day at 9 p.m. go to the SharePoint, bring that SharePoint list data into Power Automate. How to bring the data into Power Automate now? Go and add one new step. So there is an option called get items. There is an option called what? Get items. So when I go and search for get items, just taking some time. Fine. When you search for the get items, you can see there is an option called what? Get items. From where? SharePoint. Select this option. Now here you need to get the items from where? From the SharePoint. What's the site? Batch 112 8 p.m. What's the list name? Students. So you need to pass the site address here. Let me go and click on the drop down and select the site first. What's the site name? Batch 112. From which site you want to bring the data means batch 112. In that site, what's the list you want to bring? Students list data. Let me select the list name as students. So every day at 9 p.m. what the flow will do? First, it will go to the SharePoint. It will bring the data into Power Automate. Why? Because I'm having the email address in the SharePoint only. So to send an email, I need to have the emails. Bring that data from the SharePoint into Power Automate. Once after bringing the data, now go and add an action. What action now? Send email. Send email. Search for send email. Now go and select an action called what? Send email. Let me select this. When I select this action, two address. To whom I want to send? Whoever the students is in the SharePoint, for all the students. Now go to the Power Automate, go to the dynamic content, and then you can see the column name as what? Email. When I click on the email, and I select the column name email, automatically is adding one step called what? Apply to each. Because I want to send the same email for all the students. Apply to each means one after the another. First, I need to send it to Vinky. Next, I need to send to Seetal, Suresh, and then Abdul. One after the another. Whenever if you want to perform the same action repeatedly, one after another, then it is adding one step called what? Apply to each. Now, once after passing the two address, next subject is what? Same subject, same message, same email. Previously, I'm sending whenever the record is created, but now I'm sending the mail, same mail based on the time. Now let me go here. Keep the subject as same. Thanks for inquiring AB trainings. Body also same. Just copy it. So to type, it will take some time. Just copy it, and then go to the subject, paste it here. Now let me remove the student name, hard coded value it is. Let me go to the dynamic content, select what? S name. Select the S name. I want to make it as dynamic student name. And also let me remove the course. Go to the dynamic content, add what? Course value. Because I want to make the course is also dynamic. Select the course. And then select, keep the course in the bold. Fine. So this is the mail I want to send. So to whom? Whoever the students is there in SharePoint, it's for all of them. So at what time? Every day at 9 p.m. except Sunday, remaining all the days. So this is the mail, same mail I want to send. There is no change in the email. Only the sending time is different. Previously, whenever the record is created, I am sending, but now I'll send the email every day at 9 p.m. Now go and save the flow. So what are the steps? So when this flow will run? 9 p.m. What it will do first? It will get the items from the SharePoint. Once after getting the items, it will send an email. Now go and test the flow. Test the flow manually for the first time. From the second time onwards, it will automatically. Click on run flow. Click on done. Now what it will do? Your flow is running. It is telling that flow is running. Now it is done. You get the green color tick mark. That means your flow runs successfully. Now whoever the students is there, for all the students, it is sending an email again. So Seetal, Suresh, Abdul, please check your email IDs. Let me know whether you received email or not. Let me show you my email ID, whether I received or not. When I go to my email, when I go to the inbox, yes, I received it just now. Now see what's the mail. Thanks for inquiring AB trainings. Hi Venki, we're from Analytics Benchmark. Thanks for inquiring Power Apps
Yeah, I
course.
received.
Yes, we'll get it. So now every day at 9 p.m. what the Power Automate will do? It will go to the SharePoint. It will get the data and then whatever the data it is getting, from that data it will take the email IDs and send an email to all the students. So here I am sending the email to the students whenever based on the date and time, scheduled date and time. So whenever if you want to go and send the emails based on the scheduled date and time, go and use what type of flow? Scheduled cloud flow. And next there is another one, instant. Now what's my requirement here is, now I don't want to send an email to the student whenever the record is created. I don't want to send the emails based on the date and time. When I want to send, whenever it is required for me. If I want to send it, I need to click on one button manually. If I click on that button will go and send the emails in the backend. So my requirement here, I don't want to send the emails whenever the record is created. I don't want to send the emails based on the date and time. When I want to send, whenever it is required for me, I need to go and click on one button manually, and that button will go and automatically send the emails. So whenever if you want to automate the work process manually by tapping a button, manually means we need to click on one button manually. When we click on the button manually, whenever it's required for us. So whenever it is required for us, if you want to go and send the emails, then go and select what type of flow? Instant cloud flow. Let me go and create an instant flow. Let me go to the create tab. Let me go and set what? Instant flows. You can see the hand raise is there. Let me pass the flow name as what? Instant cloud flows batch 122. Now let me select what? Manually trigger a flow. So it is manual trigger a flow. Trigger is what here? Manually I want to run every time. Every time manually we need to run, as it is an instant flow. Let me select this trigger. Switch back to the old designer. Now you can see that when this flow will run manually by tapping a button. So whenever I click on the button, what it need to do? It need to send an email. To whom they need to send an email? To all the students. So first of all, if you want to send an email, we need to bring this data to where? Power Automate. Now how to bring the data to Power Automate? Get items, correct. Go and get the items from where? SharePoint. Add the same action, get items. Whenever I click on the button manually, first it need to get the items from the SharePoint, because students data is there in the SharePoint. First get the data. Here while getting the data, you need to pass the site address and list name. From which site you want to bring the data? Batch 112. I think it is not the one. Batch 112 8 p.m. And what's the list name? Students. Now from this students list, I want to get the data. Once after getting the data, correct, send an email. Now go and add an action, send email. Let me select this. Now to whom I want to send? Whoever the students is there in the SharePoint list, for all the students I want to send. So go to the dynamic content, go and add what? Column name in the SharePoint list. This is the column name in the SharePoint. Select the email column. Now it is adding the same step applied to each, because it need to send the email to all the students in the SharePoint. Next, once after keeping this, next pass the subject. What's the subject? Same. Thanks for inquiring AB trainings. And then body is what? Same mail I want to send, guys, but when you want to send is different. Manually by clicking on one button, it will send the email. So now let me remove the Venki. It is a hard coded value. Let me make it as dynamic. Go to the dynamic content, select what? Yes, name. Let me keep it in the bold. Let me keep the student name in the bold. Let me select the analytics benchmark also in the bold. Let me select the analytics, keep it in the blue color. Let me select the benchmark, keep it in the something like orange. Let me remove the course, hard coded value, Power Apps, and then go to the dynamic content, go and add what? Course value. I want to make it as dynamic. And then let me go and click on bold. Same mail, but when it will send an email, whenever we click on one button manually. So now save it, save the flow. Let me check the flow is having any errors or not. Now the flow is not having any errors. Your flow is ready. We'll recommend you to test it. Let me test the flow. Every time we need to run the flow manually, guys. Every time we need to run it manually, because it is what type of flow? Instant flow. When the instance flows will run manually by tapping a button. Every time we need to do it manually. So let me select the manually, select the button, click on test, and click on continue, click on run flow. Now when I click on the run flow, what is going to do? First, it will get the data from the SharePoint list. Once after getting the data, It will send the email to all the students, whoever there is in the SharePoint list regarding the course details. Click on send, click on done. Now see, it is telling what your flow run successfully. So it is loading. So now see, it is done. So now when I go and check my email, whoever the data is there, please check your remaining students, Sital, Suresh, Abdul. Please check your emails. Again, you received another one more mail. Now when I go to this mail, so just now I received it. New email is the one, just 9:10 p.m. When I click on it, same message. Thanks for inquiring AB trainings. Hi Venki, we are from Analytics Benchmark. Thanks for inquiring which course? Power Apps is my course. And then you will update you when the new batch will start. Thanks. AB trainings. There is no change in the mail subject. Subject and body mail is same. But when you want to send the email, that is important. If you want to send an email, whenever the record is created, immediately you want to send, or you want to send an email based on the date and time, or you want to send an email manually by tapping a button. It is up to you. Based on your requirement, you can go and select either automated cloud flow, scheduled cloud flows, or instant cloud flows. It is up to you. Anyway, the options will be same. Functionality is same. Whatever I am doing in the automated cloud flow, same I am doing in the cloud flows also. Whatever I am doing in the cloud flows and automated flows, same I am doing in the instant flows. The options, functionality, everything is same. But you need to understand when to go and use what. When to use the automated, when to go on with the schedule, when to go with the instant. So there are some cases in the real-time scenarios, whenever something is happening in the data sources, they need to perform some automations. Go and use the automated at that time. If they want to perform the automations based on the date and time, go and use the schedule. Or if they want to perform the automations manually by tapping some button whenever they're required, go and use what? Instant flows. Fine. These are the three different types of flows we are able to create in the Power Automate. So this is what, how to go and perform the automations with the help of what? Power Automate software. So we understand how to go and perform the automations with the help of Power Automate. So in this 4-step business application process, we done with first step, creating an app. We done with data sources. We done with automations. To create an app, we are using the Power Apps. To create the, to what is the data source? SharePoint. What is meant by automation software? Power Automate. So still now we understand whenever the record, whenever how to enter the data. We discussed how to create an app in the Power Apps with 4 to 5 screens. How to enter the data, how to submit the data. Whenever the data comes into the data sources, how to take their student email ID and how to send one automated email to the students. Still now we done with 3 steps. So there is there is another one more step is what? The 4th step is data analysis. So how to perform the data analysis? We'll understand the next class. That is 4th induction class. To perform the data analysis, we'll go and use which software? Power BI. With the help of Power BI software, how we'll go and show that data in the form of visuals or reports, we'll discuss next class tomorrow. So there is another one more introduction class is pending. That is class 4, introduction to Power BI. We'll discuss about introduction to Power BI in the next class tomorrow.